got everything. That's all working perfect. Let's open up the Discord. Alright, so first of all, it is 2:32, so 8:30 New York local time. And we can see that, hang on, let me turn off my phone, that we can see that ES is right between the high of the day and the low of the day, currently hovering around the new week opening gap. But we can already see that on the Euro FX futures chart, we already broke the low of the day. Let me go down on a lower time frame here now. Since this is our trade criteria, we can see that right at 8:30 we broke the current low of the day, which also lines up with sell side liquidity if we go to the 15-minute time frame. And if you haven't heard of liquidity concepts or anything like that before, yesterday I put quite a lot of effort into creating the ICT-Concepts section right here on our Discord server, where you can simply click through, and I created them in the style of a thread, so you can simply read through it step by step, mark it up on your own charts, and see how you go from there. Alright, so I'm going to keep the chat open, and other than that, so what I wanted to point out is we broke this low right here, which lined up with the low that we formed right at 3 a.m. New York local time. So we had equal lows here, a very obvious pull or draw on liquidity. And if we look at the price action right here, we formed equal lows. We did not take out this low right here from 8:15 on Thursday. We reversed right from it, and this would have been a great spot for potential shorts right from this fair value gap around this area. See how the wicks kept holding inside of this fair value gap, and also right here for a quick silver bullet short out of this fair value gap after we saw this big rejection wick. It would have been pretty simple to place your entry right at the close of the candle. Stop loss one tick above right here, but you can see that's only a 1.5 risk to reward, so you might want to break it down on a lower time frame for a better risk to reward ratio. But other than that, on the higher time frame, the only other thing I'm looking at is sell side liquidity right here. Below this low, we can see we have quite a few fair value gaps where we could see a small bullish reaction from. But other than that, we are looking at the low right here at 1.06715. This is my sell side liquidity target on the Euro US dollar chart. We also have the previous week's low right down here, but I'm not sure if we're going to drop all the way down to here. We have our current high of the day, which happened on the opening candle. So we also had a new week opening gap, but it's so small, I'm not going to count this one in. So we have the current high of the day right here at the opening candle from Friday to the shift over on Sunday at 6 p.m. New York local time. We already broke the 8:30 low, so we go to our lower time frame. We don't care about ES just yet, even though we could simply hold support inside of this fair value gap, which also lines up with the new week opening gap. And yeah, that's about it. Let me see if I can... No, that doesn't work. I can't stream on two Discord servers at the same time. So we're watching Euro US dollar on our 1 minute time frame. And what I'm focusing on is market structure right now, because I'm waiting for a market structure shift to eventually go bullish, and therefore I'm simply keeping track of the most recent market structure here on a 1 minute time frame. Right here, there we have our high. If we break this high, we officially shifted market structure and we could be looking for longs. At least that's our strategy. Then we have this high right here, as we can see, while price moved down lower and lower and lower. We could start doing this pretty much from here. And mark out our lows. And then we pretty much search for the highest point between this low and this low right here. And we would get the 832 high right here, which would be sitting at 1.06915. Alright, other than that, we are just going to wait and see what's going to happen. if I would have to bet right here on a 15-minute chart, it's still, the market is still rather undecisive. We've been holding this new week opening gap as support and resistance and pretty much spent the whole day inside of it. So yeah, a little long right above to the high of the day wouldn't be so bad at all. Let me see what the risk to reward ratio would be looking like. We place our stop one tick below the slow and we target, that's only a 1.1 risk to reward. Unless we get an entry right here, I would take it. So I'd say we click on create limit order, go for 1 unit, and we buy if price goes back to this level. For a higher time frame setup into our buy side liquidity, which would be sitting right at the high of the day. But only if we get filled right at this level on this fair value gap. Otherwise, I do not want to be in this trade. And of course, none of this is financial advised. But this is what I would like to see happening, a nice bounce off the new week opening gap. We are inside of bullish market structure. We also have equal highs right above here. We could also break it down on a 1 minute time frame and see what we're looking at. Market structure shift. We will see if we get filled. We could get very close to it. But I think I'm going to watch it on a 5 because price isn't ready yet. Okay, we're filled. Let's see how this trade plays out. 2.14, 2 risk reward. I would place my sell limit for this trade right here. This is not strategy based, so if you're wondering now what's happening, that's just me taking a fair play up into the current high of the day based on a rejection of the new week opening gap and a higher time frame fair value gap. We are in bullish market structure, as we can see. Bullish move to the upside. We have equal highs above, so also a buy side liquidity pool, and our high of the day, which could be very likely to draw on liquidity to take out Asia's high, basically, or the high right at the opening. We will see. And we're just going to take it from there. Euro US dollar is still dropping. We would wait for a new structure to form. Alright, other than that, not much we can do right here. Euro US dollar is still dropping. We're going to keep watch the S&P 500 on the 15-minute chart to keep it simple. We also have PMI news, if I'm not, ISM service PMI at 10 a.m. We can have a look what it actually means. Released monthly on the 3rd business day after the month ends. It measures the level of a diffusion index based on surveyed purchasing managers, excluding the manufacturing industry. Interesting. Above 50 indicates industry expansion, below indicates contraction. So they're expecting expansion. In the previous month, we also got expansion, so we will see about that. All right, let's see if our little no rush, Maddie. We are going to get there. We haven't had any setups yet. I'm just taking a play of the new week opening gap, lining up with this bullish fair value gap into equal highs and high of the day buy side liquidity. All right. I would close this trade if I get a close below this 15-minute fair value gap. Pretty much like I explained it in the fair value gap section on our Discord server. Let me bring this back up. Right here, if we hover over or go over to the fair value gap section of this little ICT concept forum, I also mentioned it right here. Candle bodies tell the story, wicks do the damage, so that's pretty much what we're looking for. A wick can always go below the fair value gap. That's why I wouldn't place my stop loss at the low of the fair value gap, because wicks do the damage. But as long as the candle bodies, like right here, hold inside of the fair value gap, we're pretty much good to go. And if we get a close below, I would look at it as an inverted fair value gap. And I also covered this topic on the ICT concept forum section. Also, volume imbalances, market structure, liquidity, fair value gaps, breaker blocks, and inversion fair value gaps. Alright, so let's zoom in here again. Looks like we're forming a short-term low, so we're going to keep track of that. So if this low is broken, we move over to new market structure. Nice. That's playing out. I think we haven't been in drawdown at all, if I'm not wrong. We're looking for a simple 2-to-1. That would be 3.75 handles. If we would go for 5 handles, this would be our 5-handle target. So we can also mark this up. But because I only entered with one full contract, I'm very likely going to exit right here above those two equal highs, which would be considered buy side liquidity, because right above here we have plenty of buy stops and buy limit orders sitting above here. So if someone wants to fill a big short position, this would be the place to do so. Let me open up Discord again and see if we've got any questions. If you want to ask me something, simply click right here on open chat, and then you're in the live stream chat and we can chat. So let's see, open up trading view. As of right now, this looks like this is going to be our short-term high. We're going to mark this up. So what do we want to see right now? For efficient price delivery, we would like to see immediate rebalance. So therefore, we want to see a pullback and pretty much price in this bigger 15-minute candle by pretty much pulling back to the high of the previous candle. So we are not going to leave behind another fair value gap. Wouldn't be a problem, but of course we'd like to see efficient price delivery into our bias direction. Otherwise, I would look forward to potentially close out the trade. And we can see price is still running. Did anyone take this trade? Okay, so we are not forming a new low. Market structure wise, here's our most recent swing low. Here's our most recent swing high. Only if we're going to break this, someone might even consider this as a short-term high, but I don't really do that. I want to see nice market structure where I can also use my path tool right here. I can see a low, a lower high, a lower low, and if I do something like this, it's just getting a bit too messy for me, for my liking. But we could look at it on a, for example, 30 seconds time frame. Let me add that to my favorites. On a 30 seconds chart, even here, it's not really what we're looking for. Here we had our first internal structure break right here, but we're looking for a market structure shift. So as of right now, no reversal setup on the Euro US dollar chart. Let's watch the S&P 500 and see if we can get some efficient price delivery and fill in or pretty much not leave behind a fair value gap. All right, so let's see how we go from here. But since we kept holding support inside of this fair value gap, I think the chances are pretty good that we are going to bounce off that new week opening gap and take out the high of the day. I think it's more likely than us dropping straight down to the low of the day. We will see. Right now market structure is bullish. We are in sync with the trend basically. And right now we're just watching candles and tape read a little bit. So we have 11 minutes left on this 15-minute time frame. I'm not going on to a lower time frame because it's just more chill to watch it on a 15-minute chart. We do not have our reversal set up just yet. So this is my silver bullet setup into buy side liquidity, a continuation setup, whatever you want to call it. You can call it silver bullet, you can call it a continuation play, or you can call it a trade. Are there any questions? So we have something to talk about in the meantime. All right, let's see. If we have any questions? Nope. All right, I guess everything is clear as day then. All right, if the candle keeps on moving up like this on a 15-minute chart, we are looking at a potential fair value gap right here that we could revisit at a later point in time. But as of right now, the candle still hasn't closed, so we're gonna be patient. Here's our most recent lower low on the Euro US dollar chart and our most recent higher high. So currently we're just looking at this range right here. You could also, of course, take a continuation play. We measure from the most recent high to the low, and we see a 61.8 retracement with a bearish engulfing candle. Very likely going to take out our lows again. Alright, let's see if we get efficient price delivery right here to break above those equal highs. I think they are programmed to be taken out, so we will see. I also have to mention that we have equal lows on a 15-minute chart right here. Equal lows. I'm going to plot them at the bottom. Equal highs and equal lows. Right now, because we're in bullish market structure, and if we break this low, we have a market structure shift. I would like to see the equal highs being taken out first with the high of the day, and then potentially give us a reversal setup. Alright, so now price delivered efficiently. There's no fair value gap left behind. That's what we like to see. And now we would like to see a rejection and continuation back to the upside. Let me check that on a lower time frame to see what we're looking at. This candle should hold. Alright, as you can see, we're about to take out the low on Euro US dollar. Alright, so we formed a new lower low, making this our most recent lower high that we would like to see being broken before we get a potential reversal setup here on EU. The price has delivered efficiently. We also left behind plenty of fair value gaps to enter a short back on, and also a volume imbalance that already has been filled. We already filled this fair value gap here as well. So we have one and a little fair value gap right above here. We will see, or we get that market structure shift bounce back to the upside. Of course, it's nice to see fair value gaps being left behind, Fabi. But in this case, if we would have just seen a efficient price delivery and a rejection of the high of this previous candle, not leaving behind a fair value gap and continuing straight up to the upside, that's a pretty strong bullish confirmation for me that price is going to continue to the upside. But we're watching a 15-minute chart here, not like a 1-minute chart. Of course, it's always great to see fair value gaps being left behind, because this also is a sign of strength, and especially those volume imbalances, these gaps right here between the close and the open of the next candle, also another strong sign. You can ask the questions right inside of the live stream chat. All you have to do is click on open chat on the Discord server, and then you can ask right in here, then I can see it better. We can keep track of this little volume imbalance. Like right here, we left behind this little fair value gap between this candle's high and this candle's low, and we immediately filled it, left behind a rejection wick. Always a good sign for a small continuation play. So within a downtrend, a strong downtrend, filling or immediately filling these fair value gaps is a nice sign. Like as you can see, we already filled this one right here, at least partially. We continue to drop, left behind another fair value gap, rebalance it immediately, one candle after. But what I mean with immediate rebalance would be that, what would it look like? Let me have a look. Let's see if we can find an example here on this chart. Now, Euro US dollar hasn't had lots of volume coming in, lots of gaps and market structure that looks like this. But I'm pretty sure on ES we're going to find an example. Where would that be? I've got an example on Discord. I can't find one here on the 15-minute chart right now. Maybe it doesn't happen as often on a 15-minute time frame. Alright, so now we're in small drawdown. We still want to see this fair value gap to hold. If we get a close below this fair value gap, we're simply going to close the trade. Alright, we can see Euro US dollar is pretty bullish right here, about to shift market structure. So this would be our market structure shift bullish. Also opened up with a gap, currently filling this gap. Here we have to close, and here's the open of that very next candle. I do not like this formation right here, but I think this might still hold. We also have a smaller fair value gap right below here, but I'm focusing on this 15-minute fair value gap. If it doesn't play out, it's not that big of a problem. Yes, that can be. It's always nice to see fair value gaps being left behind because those are potential pullback areas. Let me watch this trade here quickly. But immediate rebalance within that same candle. And so let's say we have an up close candle and the wick would go up to the equilibrium of the new week opening gap. And we get that next wick going to the exact same level and also closing bullish. This would be a strong sign for price action right here. Already filled in the small fair value gap right here. Alright, so we closed a new 15-minute candle, a bearish engulfing candle. Let's see if this fair value gap can hold as support. And if we're going to shift market structure here on EU. Let's look on a lower time frame right here. We have a small little fair value gap, so we would like to see the candle to close above it for continuous bullish movement. So we used to have a bullish fair value gap right here. We broke through it, close below it, and now we would look at it as a bearish fair value gap, and it also lines up with the exact same bearish fair value gap. So this would be a key level for me to watch if we're going to continue into this direction. Alright, we're now above this little 5-minute bullish bearish fair value gap. A bullish engulfing candle right here would be ideal. We can see how Euro US dollar is going sideways, inside of our area of resistance. So this is our highest up close candle within that last price leg. So in case we're going to break market structure here, we could look at this as a breaker block. We swept sell side and we broke market structure. All right. This is now our breaker block, and we could look for potential. So this trade is already running. We don't have to worry much about this one, I think. Now we can look for fair value gap. This fair value gaps, this already has been rebalanced. Let me pull this up. Fair value gap bullish. And we have another one right here. Big opening gap right here. So potentially, I'm not going to take a long just yet on the Euro US dollar chart. You see this massive rejection. So we very likely have our high in place. If I'm going to enter, I'm going to take an entry of the 61.8. So I could prepare my order. That would be a 7 tick stop loss, targeting a 3 to 1. Would be like this. Let's see, ideally for continuous bullish momentum on the Euro US dollar chart, we would like to see this breaker block act as support. But do you see these opening gaps? Here we had our close of the 902 candle, opening of the 903 candle. So this is already quite a big gap. And then now close of the 903 candle, opening of the 904 candle, also with another big gap. That's not ideally what we like to see. We shifted market structure now. And yeah, we also had a similar opening gap right here. We had the close of the 832 candle and the open of the 833 candle. Also a big gap, which just got filled right here. So I would be careful with this Euro US dollar setup. Of course, you can still take it as it lines up with our strategy's rule. Let's see. Let's create a order. We give it 0.25 risk. Let's see if we can get, yeah, okay, we're pushing. So this is the breaker block. Right now we can see the bodies are respecting this breaker block. I'm not going to take an entry from the breaker block. I'm not as experienced on taking breaker block entries. My stop loss, if we consider taking a long from here, would be at least below the low of this candle, but we also have a fair value gap here, so it's tricky. We will leave that order on here. We also have all these inverted fair value gaps on from this move to the downside, but only if I get my 61.8 entry, I would consider taking it. We have 8 more minutes left right here, and currently the breaker block is still holding. Any questions about the breaker block or any of the stuff that's currently happening on our charts? My inversion zones. Right now, I mostly look at inversions if there are no bullish fair value gaps to look at inside of the displacement leg, the leg that shifted market structure that broke the lower high right here. So I wouldn't draw in now more fair value gaps because this would just make it more confusing. You see that? The opening gap and how the breaker block kept holding support. This is what we'd like to see. Ideally, I would have liked to see a pullback, but the idea is playing out. We got our market structure shift, but therefore I have to do more back testing to see how I can safely place my entries inside the first breaker block that we get for a possible continuation play. I'm going to remove the buy limit since we formed a new higher high. Right here, do you see that? We found a low, higher high. Now we look for a higher low, but we didn't get our 61.8 fair value gap entry, what we are normally looking for, looking for a reversal below the low of today. But see how this breaker block kept on holding beautiful support. Not really what I was looking for, so I'm going to remove my limit order right here. That's not a problem. We have our silver bullet set up right here on the ES, which also looks promising. Alright, we have 5 more minutes left within this 15-minute candle. The NWOC, the new week opening gap, is sitting right around here. We had the close and the opening of the new week. If you ask about the price level, it would be sitting at 4288 and 3/4, and the low would be sitting at 4288, round number level. And this is where the whole idea came from. We broke above it within bullish market structure. We left behind a 15-minute fair value gap, pulled inside of it. The candle bodies kept on holding, and we entered right here at the high of the fair value gap. We got our pullback, but right now it looks like that it really wants to go for those equal highs right above here and the high of the day. I just got a message from a friend of mine, and he took that breaker block entry right here, or basically this upper fair value gap. This is where he took his entry, and he usually places his stops like this. So if he's being stopped out on this trade, he would immediately enter on this trade with his stop one tick usually below the next, below the low of the candle that created the fair value gap. And right now he's running in some profits. That's very nice. But we didn't get filled, so we keep track of this and see how we can use breaker blocks for better entries. We could have entered off that 50% level, but yeah, if we look for a 3-to-1 risk reward of that 50%, depending on where we place our stop loss, if we would have placed our stop loss right here and not below the swing low, a 3-to-1 wouldn't be too hard to reach for, would be relatively easy, but it is what it is. Alright, so the last 2 minutes right here of this 15-minute candle, we want to see a close above this orange zone. And also on Euro US dollar, if we want to see continuation, we could look for this little gap right here. This is a gap because no wick has been traded into this gap for to hold support basically. For a continuation move to the upside. Last 2 minutes. I don't really like this rejection, but we will see. Ideally, we do not want to see a close below this gap. This would really be my point of interest right here. On ES, we would like to see a close above this orange zone. Okay, we're going to enter into that last 1 minute candle within this 15-minute candle. Remember, price is fractal, 3 new messages. Or ideally a bullish engulfing. This would really kick it off. So as we can see, this candle kept on holding this gap right here. So if we're going to continue on Euro US dollar, this would be a entry with your stops right below these equal lows. If we're going to keep holding this level, this would be the trade. I'm not going to take it. I'm already in my setup right here, and I theoretically missed this breaker block entry to the upside, even though I would get a re-entry opportunity here. But if we break those two lows, we're already shifting market structure bearish. So okay, I want to focus on the S&P for now. To see, okay, last 10 seconds, do we get our close above this level? This is really what I'm looking for. 3, 2, 1. All right, we close above, and you see this gap? This confirms bullish momentum for me. Okay, we filled this gap, and now we would like to see immediate continuation, ideally. You see how price always swigs into this little gap and then rejects and goes back to where it opened. Just something to watch for while we're reading. And yet again, another opening gap on Euro US dollar. Quite a few of those on the 1 minute right here. It is also 9:15 right now. In 15 minutes, so with that next candle close right here on the 15-minute time frame, the New York stock market opens up and the S&P 500 will very likely also get a push, or it will just consolidate around the new week opening gap. We will see what price is doing within those next 15 minutes, but pretty confident about this trade, I could say. Alright, we're still holding support inside this breaker block. If we're going to break it, if in case you're in a long right here, see that? Breaker block kept on holding support and we had a new gap to the upside. Opening right at the high of this breaker block. Good sign. So if you took this trade idea, where we enter right off this gap and place our stops below those equal lows, this would be the play. Let it run for a 2.5 for it to take out these highs. We will see. Right now everything's still bullish on the Euro US dollar before we take out these lows. If we get a close below those levels, I would not continue to look for other setups. Alright, looks nice. Our S&P trade is, you entered on EU based on this little setup that I mentioned. We took out the equal highs. Alright, so we tapped into our first buy side liquidity pool. I'm going to move my stop loss right here at the new week opening gap high. I'm looking for 5 handles. Keep it simple. Here's our high of the day. Let's see. Yes, we're going to the 1 minute time frame, but first of all I want to see my, okay, we broke the high of the day. As we can see, we got immediate rejection of this level. Immediately. Wick. There it is. So if we have ordered it, but usually we get a small run above it. So right now I'm looking at a 2.57. This would be a 2.86 risk reward. That's really what I'm looking for. Euro US dollar. Looks like it's working out nice as well. We're all done on this EU trade. Where did you enter on? Did you enter on the 50% level right here, so this first fair value gap? Or did you enter on the retest of the breaker block? Or this little gap here, which I draw on the chart, like this? 50%, fair enough. What made you go for the 50% level? The fair value gap? Because usually you're looking for the 61.8, at least that's where my order was sitting at. Okay, you changed it quickly. Let's go down to a lower time frame here on ES. We had the same gap, almost the same gap right here. We're just looking for these 5 handles. This would be the rebalancing for me. We took out all major buy side liquidity pools. Current high of the day, we have the previous week high right above here. So yeah, I think we could see price reach into this. That's why I'm still confident in my sell limit right over here. I'm not risking anything anyway, so I'm fine with that. This would have been a nice entry. Let's see if we can break this high right here. Alright, so we rebalanced this bullish candle right here. Price it in efficiently. Watch the 1 minute time frame since we took out the high of the day. Here are those equal highs. So for continuation, I would like to see this fair value gap to hold. Or break structure if we get a break below this level right here. This would be our structure shift. These equal lows. Alright, so we formed a new higher high on Euro US dollar. We also have equal highs here on the 1 minute. Market is about to open up in 6 minutes. This is our market structure shift level. I'm just going to watch it on a 5-minute chart until we finish this trade. Pre 9:30, unless we're going to break those highs, I'm going to quickly switch to the lower time frame. But right now I'm going to stick with that. Stop loss to break even for me. Yeah, fair point. Once we form a new higher high, always a good idea to move your stop loss to break even. Right, let's see. If we continue bullish on EU, we would like to see this gap right here to hold. You can see Euro is looking very bullish here. We did not go inside of this gap. Here we have an example of efficient price delivery, high, this candle right between. We came back down to the high of that previous candle and continued to move straight above this high. Had a little pullback, but we're already continuing to form a new higher high. Nice. Hopefully I can see the same on my setup right here on ES. We've been looking at this at the very beginning of the stream and I had the 15 minutes charts open. That's usually where I do my analysis pre-stream. Then I had them open and I saw this new week opening gap, consolidation inside, break outside of it. We entered right here on this candle when price got back into this new week opening gap, lining up also with a 15 minute fair value gap right here. So yeah, I'm going to see how this is going to play out. I'm going to move my stop loss into profit because if we're going to break this low on a lower time frame, we would be looking at shifted market structure. And at least I'm taking some profits home out of this trade. Otherwise, I'm looking for the 5 handles. And this might just be it for me today. If I catch 5 handles, I'm happy. Even if I don't get the reversal, I would maybe even demo trade it. 5 handles with 1 contract on ES is more than enough if you can find a nice setup to catch 5 handles per day. And it's also a 3-to-1 risk reward trade, even though I base it on the 15-minute time frame. So it doesn't mean that you always have to trade on a lower time frame to make profits. It's still valid to go into a higher time frame and take less setups, but therefore with higher quality. So let's see. Let me redraw this gap right here. We want to see this act as support, and looks like we're holding it as support. We also have a fair value gap right here. I'm not going to draw it in. And another gap that has already been filled before we continued further to the upside, with a new gap to the upside, which has now been priced in. So yeah, from right here, we would like to see this high being violated. It's 3:28, so we have 2 more minutes before market open. Seems like this fair value gap is holding support. I've got my sell limit in place. Price is pushing towards those 2 equal highs. So we will see. Market is about to open up in the next minute. Let's see. Come on, hit our take profit target. Come on, bro. Nice rejection wick. Market open could be volatile. $175. All right, 4.75 handles is enough. There we go. There we It's always like this, isn't it? 4.5 handles captured. That's nice based on our 15-minute play. Market open up. We haven't had a market structure shift yet. Let's see how Euro US dollar is going to continue. So we see we just tapped it. I felt safe by placing it. So now we formed a new higher high, making this our market structure shift point. And for now, just let me get rid of all this stuff because I don't really care that much about it anymore. We are out of our trade. We took out the high of today. Formed a new higher high. We're looking for the lowest low for our market structure shift bearish. Nice little 5-handle scalp. Alright, so now price is continuing. My next drawn liquidity would be this previous week's high. If we go to a higher time frame, you can see price gapped up. I think this would be the very likely next draw. So before we take out this level, I really wouldn't look at a short. I think we also won't really get one. You can also see how this volume imbalance is still acting as support. As long as we don't get a close below it, we should see it holding support. Price is moving higher. Still acting as support right here. Did anyone watching the stream take a similar trade or a continuation play that I outlined on EU? Or maybe this breaker block entry, an entry right on these gaps, or even this 15-minute play with our entry right here. What was our entry? Yeah, right here at this low on a 1-minute time frame. The 15-minute fair value gap high. Alright, so we formed a new higher high, but now it's tricky with market opens, with those wicks. Theoretically, we would have to shift our market structure shift to here, but it doesn't really look appealing to me. So yeah, shorting with this buy side liquidity pool right above here, not really the most favorite thing I'd like to do, but let's just watch price action and see how we go. We could also get a strong rally to the upside. Alright, immediate rebalance. No room. We're efficiently pricing in this candle. This is a bullish sign. You see that? With a run and a clear target, buy side liquidity target. This is what we like to see. And ideally an up close candle. There we go. Efficient price delivery, no room for fair value gaps to be left behind. Pretty much since the market opened up. We had this last fair value gap that has been filled, also with this pre-market 929 candle that almost stopped me out. Okay, I think we're reaching for this buy side liquidity. Nice to see. If I would have entered with more contracts than just one, I would have certainly left one on. So I don't really want to trade micros, so I'm going to just stick with it. And I had this nice entry right here with, I think, I don't know how many handles stop loss. Let me quickly measure that. I entered right here 1.75, let's say 2 handles stop loss. I could have really entered with 2 contracts, but yeah, it is what it is. This was just a potential continuation play into the high of the day, because I expected it to, okay, again, immediately filled this fair value gap and continued back to the upside. We took out our previous week's high. And from where? Or from the new week opening gap. So if I go back to the 15-minute time frame, where I initially drew my whole trade idea, and look at this beauty. Do you see how this gap acted as support and we did not close below it? If I really draw it properly, we did not close below this gap. Of course, wicks, they do the damage, but we did not close below it, and that's really what we like to see. Now we would like to see an efficient price delivery for the continuation to the upside. Let me get rid of this and this and this market structure shift. So we took out the previous week's high. That all played out very nice. we have equal lows below and our current low of the day. So if we get a reversal, I would look for it right here, because this would have been the biggest buy side liquidity pool to fill lots of short orders for a reversal and trap some longs. New week opening gap right here. So this was pretty much the idea. I saw this move to the upside, leaving behind equal highs. Always a good sign if you long to have equal highs above you. Pulled back inside of this new week opening gap, lining up with a bullish fair value gap right here. If I draw it back up, that's a bullish fair value gap right here, lining up perfectly with this new week opening gap. So our close of Friday's price action right here, and our open of Monday's price action, or Sunday, if you look at it from a New York local time perspective. And yeah, we consolidated around it, but we have been in bullish market structure the whole time. So I think it was fair to assume, again, kept on holding this gap right here. What did I want to say? Yeah, it was fair to assume that we get a bullish continuation of this new week opening gap, lining up with a 15-minute higher time frame fair value gap. Played out very nicely. Alright, as you can see, we had a bullish up close candle with no wick to the upside, and yet immediately, why did plenty of short orders have been filled above this level, I would argue. Open up even with a gap right here. Immediate rebalance, hopefully, for a continuation play. We also have equal highs right here. So yeah, I'm going to watch market structure right here, but I think I'm not going to take another trade. I already caught 5 handles. That's pretty much all I look for in a day. Alright, we are about to take out those equal highs on EU. Matt, where's your take profit target on EU? You hit some button and I entered another long. Oh well. As long as you didn't hit the button right here, I think you should be right. If it's somewhere around this area, it's perfect. Yeah, fair enough. Can understand that. But where's your original take profit from your 50% retracement entry? Are there any questions about anything we've talked so far within this trade we took right here on the S&P 500, or the price action analysis we've done on the Euro FX futures chart? 1.0699. Right here, this would have been your take profit. Okay. 50% level right here. So for a free risk reward, your stop loss was placed somewhere around here. Yeah, nice entry. Let's see if this is going to be hit. So we found a new higher high on ES. All right. If we continue to watch market structure on ES, we found a new higher high. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Break of structure. And this would be our most recent lower low. Sell side below here as well. We have news at 10 a.m., so also keep that in mind. Immediate rebalancing of this candle. Do you see it? We had this down close candle with the high right here. A bullish engulfing and not leaving behind any fair value gaps. We pretty much, with the open of this candle, we retraced, repriced in this candle efficiently and continued back up higher. That's always a strong sign. Not typically an entry. So what we could watch right here, we already failed the perfect immediate rebalance, but this would be the level to watch. Okay, EU is currently consolidating in here. All these equal highs, you see that? Oh, that's fair enough. I I don't use runners anymore. I'm depending on how many contracts I'm entering. I'm happy if I get my 5 handles. I'm not looking for those. Then it already was a 2.8 risk to reward trade. I'm not really looking for more. Sometimes, of course, if it's a really good setup, yeah. But generally, if you close it at a 3-1, you don't always have to leave that, I don't know, that little lottery ticket open. Just close it, take your profits, and still in micros, yeah, of course. With micros, you can do that. So we broke through those equal highs, found a new higher high. We're still bullish. We're about to hit Matt's old TP, 1.0699. I didn't mean to rub it in. Where did you close it? Did you close it at 2R or? Yeah, we all know the feeling, how it feels. Like, come on, look at me. I entered the trade right here. I kept holding over this whole time. I closed the trade on this 1-minute candle. Look what happened afterwards. You never know, because the same thing could have happened and we could have just dropped into the low of the day. You never know, that's the thing. So this would have been an additional, if I close the trade right here, this would have been an additional 7 handles. Doesn't matter. Same. At the beginning of this 50k trade away account, during those live streams, I messed around too much. I took trades that I really shouldn't have taken. I ended up being 1k in drawdown. I slowly recovered it from right now. Last week, I had 2 nice 3-hour reversal trades. So I pretty much made back my account balance with that last trade. And also what I also oftenly catch myself doing, I make that first profitable trade. Then I take silly trades and too many of them, losing all my profits again on those 1-minute charts. So if you had that first winner with 5 handles, you can already consider, yeah, being done. I mean, catching 5 handles, even if it's just 250 bucks per day, over 10 days, you eventually will pass your Apex challenge. And what really is 10 trading days and 10 profitable days, and catching 5 handles, it's really not that hard. But of course, if you're always looking for those high risk reward trades, yeah, it could be more tricky. My trade looked like this entry was sitting right here. My stop loss was sitting right here. And my take profit target was right here. 2.86 risk reward with one contract. I closed it, I think, a little bit earlier right here at 475 because of this weakening, and we had the market opened right at this time. So yeah, now let's see how price is moving here. This would be our most recent lower high for us to shift market structure bearish. But also remember, we have news at 10 a.m. Slow and steady, that's the way. For efficient price delivery, we could look at this bullish fair value gap to hold. For the continuation setup, we could look for potential buy-side targets. We pretty much rode the whole trend right here to the upside. So potential buy-side targets would be all of these highs. But what really stands out to me would be this array of equal highs right here. Do you see that? This really stands out to me. Let me zoom in here quickly. This array of equal highs, I think that happened right around 7 a.m. New York local time. We took out the sell side liquidity, those two equal lows. We shifted market structure, didn't get okay, we got a fair value gap entry. I didn't take it, but some of us did. And yeah, so right now, this would be my buy side target, alongside with this one right here, or just your typical 3-to-1 risk reward. This is currently the high of the day, and I see that we're about to shift market structure. Okay, so we shifted market structure. The only area where we could, it's pretty tough here. We don't have any inverted fair value gaps. Everything has been priced in efficiently on this move to the upside. Right up here, also everything has already been priced in efficiently. So the only area where we could get a nice entry from is if we leave this fair value gap open right here. But we also have news at 10 a.m. so that's only less than 10 minutes away. So we will keep an eye on that. Pump and dump could line up, but the 10 a.m. news, well, if we get a nice setup, consider taking it. For the continuation play, okay, that level, we would like to see this fair value gap to hold a support, or at least we do not want to see a close below this fair value gap. If I were in this trade, I would look to place my stop loss at least below this low into profit, basically. Yes, that's also a little gap. We have the close and the opening right here. This will still be considered a gap, but not really what I'm looking for in terms. I'm looking for these consecutive close candle gaps. No, I mean above. On EU or on ES? 4298. You mean this one right here? Yeah, pretty much the same thing that happened with this gap right here. So we have a fair value gap. Interesting. Let me check our higher time frame. We're just filling in this 5-minute fair value gap right here. The fair value gap right here, this is already balanced. Also this little gap right here, I wouldn't really consider it a gap. It's an opening gap. How would you call it? A reversal gap. We had an up close candle and we opened up the new bearish candle below the close of this candle. Of course we could draw it in like this, but I haven't seen anyone do that so far, so I'll close that. So let's see. If we look at a retracement, I don't like those two equal highs above here. This would be it. The fair value gap below the 50% level. Those are not my type of preferred entries, but what it looks like we're just going to drop before the news. Target would be the new week opening gap again. So we extended away from it. Also right here, we could not hold this fair value gap. We now shifted market structure, but we didn't take out the high of the day on EU. So yeah, I could pretty much move or close this chart. Just going to watch ES now and see what it's going to do. Also a market structure shift entry right here wouldn't have made a lot of sense. Your stop loss would be pretty big, even though 6 handles isn't the worst. But a simple 1-to-1 would have brought you down to the new week opening gap. You can do that, not really my type of setup. Let's see. So let's see. It looks like we formed our low. And we're starting to get a pullback. Taking an entry off this 50% level. Let's see what this would look like on our chart. Looks like we're already getting rejected. And I would not look for another short if we already go below the new week opening gap. This would have been my draw on liquidity if we would have seen a pullback and not a sudden drop like this. Yes, we can also check out the Nasdaq chart for that reason. Where's Nasdaq? Right here. And see if we got a better setup there. We shifted market structure right here and also didn't get a fair value gap entry. But as we can see, ES now hit the draw on liquidity, which would have been the new week opening gap, and those equal lows right here, this array of equal lows, which would be the target. So let's see how we're going to play off this new week opening gap at our 10 a.m. news. Let's have a look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq had a massive pump as well into right after 9:30 basically. Let me zoom out here. Here's our new week opening gap. Right here, from here to here. We filled that in and pumped quite a bit above it. It's not really loading well here, so I'm going to a higher time frame. We also broke above Friday's high. I think that should be the high. Yep, that's Friday's high, so our previous week high, we broke above that. I think theoretically, I currently just want to focus on ES. I think we're still going to continue bullish on a 15-minute time frame. Well, doesn't look super bullish to me anymore. We will see how we react off this new week opening gap, because we just tapped into it after we took out buy side liquidity. That's where most of the short orders are filled. But if we take a look at our 1 minute time frame, we didn't really get an entry inside of this liquidity. So yeah, right now I'm going to sit on our hands. 1 more minute until news, and I will likely end the stream 5-10 minutes after the news. We had our setup. We also had some nice calls on EU. And overall, enjoy watching price move simply and trying to understand what's happening with price. Alright, so instant rejection of new week opening gap. Yes, basically. And also with news. Well, no, I'm hesitant with those news. Okay, so there we have the news. Could be my mistake. Took my buy when I stepped into the NVOG. Now I hit my daily goal. I'm out. Nice. Well done, Agent Smith. That's how we do it. Hit your daily goal and out. Nothing else. And Matt, I'm not taking this trade. I already hit my 5-handed target. I'm going to watch it and see what's happening, just for future, for the future, to see how the patterns work, because right now this is our only fair value gap within this displacement leg. So if we get a potential short, this is the area where we would look forward to take one. Let's see if I create a short limit order right here, risking one contract. Now, do you see how price is pushing through that? Massive bullish reaction of this new week opening gap. Nope. That's exactly the reason why I kept holding back. New week opening gap, re-tapped into it. Bam, there we go. Alright, so we rejected off this new week opening gap. We left behind a nice wick. I'm not sure what the market is going to do next. We had some beautiful, I was long on that, lessons, slow and steady work. Then my goal is hit. That is more valuable to me than a rocket ship trade to the moon. Yeah, you can do that if you want to trade crypto. A rocket ship moon. But if you consider a professional trading career, take what's on the table, hit your daily goal, and close out the charts. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm happy with my 5R, not 5R, 5-handed move right here, earlier, right at the open of our 8:30 session, into our drawn liquidity, which would have been the high of the day. Of course, I could have let it running to the previous week's high, but you never know what's happening. This would have been a nice 5R play. Also of the new week opening gap, but based on a higher time frame right here. This was the play on the higher time frame. I saw this move, the rejection around the new week opening gap. We also had a bullish fair value gap, 15-minute fair value gap right here. That also kept on holding support for this move back to the upside. This was the general idea. I entered right here once price came back to the top of this fair value gap. Right here, there's my execution. Then I closed out the trade right here once we took out the high of the day. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with this move. Of course, I would be happier if it would have been the previous week's high, but you never know. It could have taken out that high of the day, reverse all the way back down, because it was just around market open. So 3 trades hit goal. Let me have a look at this. Gross PL. Is that a... What account size is that? Is that a 10k account? 50k. Nice. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. That's the way to go. The way to go and grow. Nice one. So let's see what's happening with ES here during those news. Let me open up EU. Okay, that's Nasdaq. Nasdaq is looking more bullish with this move. Let's say 5-minute chart too. Let me go back to Euro, since we watched it, or have been watching it for the whole day. Interesting. So on a 1-minute chart, no, I want to watch it here because that's where we have all our active drawings if they are saved. Yeah, there we go. So on EU, we had, well, we've been pretty much looking at price the whole time. We took out the low of the day. We had our market structure shift. We got a 50% retracement entry inside of this fair value gap. We had a breaker block. So yeah, breaker block. This topic has been covered inside of our Discord server, ICT-Concepts section. Right here. Let me show that quickly, in case we have a few beginners on our chat. Right here, ICT-Concepts, breaker block. That's my whole thread about breaker blocks. We had this right here today on EU. We continue to make higher highs and higher lows. Right here, this would have been a fake out, a fake market structure shift, a dump to get in more long positions and trick lots of traders to enter short inside of this fair value gap, this fair value gap, and this fair value gap. We don't, because at this point in time we haven't taken out the high of the day, which would be sitting right above here. And now, yeah, we took that out within a heartbeat, I would say. That didn't take much time at all. So right here, that would be the high of the day. Nice move, and exactly where we would expect this reversal to form, below the current low of the daily candle. So it's awesome to see that our setup is playing out. I didn't catch it because I was hoping for a entry right here at the top of this fair value gap. Really what I could have done would have been my first entry here and my second entry here for this play to the upside, or maybe even a breaker block entry just right here. This would have been fine with my stop loss maybe 1 tick below this low for a quick and easy 3-to-1 risk reward. And if this wouldn't have worked out, I would have had my backup entry right here at the top of this fair value gap. My stop loss 1 tick below the low, targeting as well a simple 3-to-1 play. So if my stop loss would have been hit on that first trade, I would have been at least in my second trade. But really what most people do, they keep their stop small if they enter multiple positions, like this for example. So in case our stop loss is being hit on this first trade, we're still in our second trade. Of course you have to know how you're going to manage your risk in that case, but see how the risk-reward ratio increased from 3 to 1 to 5.25. Of course, you're not going to have that super high win rate by entering 2 positions on each individual fair value gap, but your risk-reward on your winning trades is going to be much higher. So if you usually risk 0.5% on your Apex account or whatever account you're using, paper trading account, you can simply split up the risk. If you have 2 orders, if the first one is being filled, you use 0.25 on that one, and if it's being stopped out, you're getting filled with your second order also with 0.25 risk, hitting this 3-to-1 risk to reward target, and you're still up 2R for the day. It's better than missing the trade because you want to, like me for example today, because you wanted to see a fill inside of this fair value gap, but we only filled this upper fair value gap. So right now, from my point of view, I didn't catch this trade. I missed out on this. So what I could have done is enter on this one, and if it would have gone bad, I would have lost 0.25% on this first trade, but I would have made sure that I get my entry order, that I have another sell limit order just waiting here with my stop loss right at this low. So this would have been the play, something like this, at the low of this candle, the candle that created the fair value gap. So in case I'm stopped out, I'm being triggered into my second entry, and at least I wouldn't miss the trade. In case it doesn't go to the lower fair value gap, I would still, I hope that makes sense. Otherwise, if you lose and we form a new lower low right here, you lost 0.5%, exactly what we are looking forward to risk with a single position. Alright, we've been rejected completely. Interesting to see. Not something I want to continue to trade anymore. A market structure shift bullish, bearish, that pretty much looks like a seek and destroy to me. Took out the highs, now we're going to take out the lows. We still have those equal lows at 4,286.5. But let's have a look at Euro. Euro pumped above the high of the day. Delivered this little fair value gap and is now continuing up higher. Also, not much interest into Euro US dollar anymore. We had our chance. Unfortunately, I didn't capitalize on it. But I caught my 5 handles on ES. That's all that I'm really looking for. And perfect. Let me open up Discord and see if there are any questions. Are there any questions about anything I've talked about or about the strategy itself? Because I'm very likely going to end the live stream within the next couple of minutes. Alright, so let me see if there are any questions left. Nope. Doesn't look like there are any more questions. I'm going to upload the stream recording to general chat. Why do you 455, 254? That's a little while ago. Fabi, if you simply click on open chat right here, so here's where the live stream is. You click on open chat and then you can chat with us right inside of here. You're not watching a stream anymore, but anyway, maybe you can feel my reply to your message right here. Why do you want to see efficient price delivery? Isn't it better to leave some fair value gaps behind? Of course, it's nice to see fair value gaps being left behind, but I would prefer efficient price delivery because this would mean there's no point of interest where price is likely to return back into it to deliver it efficiently, if that makes sense. So if it's already delivered efficiently and moving to the upside, there's nothing price has to come back towards you. So hope that makes sense. Even though you're not watching anymore, maybe for the other ones. So if I can look at a chart example here on ES, of course it's great to leave fair value gaps behind, but if we don't, it's also a sign of efficient price delivery to a specific buy side target. The only fair value gap that has been left behind in this up move were those two ones right here and pretty much this one on a 1 minute time frame. And seeing this after the market opened up at 9:30, okay, we're continuing to the upside, no fair value gap, push to the upside, another push to the upside, forming a new higher high, efficiently delivering this candle by retracing back to the high of that previous candle at 9:33, and also closing bullish, just a few ticks shy of the previous week high, with the opening of that next candle, also not leaving behind any fair value gaps, with the last push above the previous week's high. Of course, price returned back into this area again, but I hope it makes sense. So let's say we left behind lots of fair value gaps right here. It could be harder for price to reach your target because maybe they're getting delivered or filled efficiently before price hits the buy side target. Alright, let's see. So we now close below the new week opening gap. The next draw on liquidity would be those equal lows. Very likely to be hit next. No real fair value gap that we could have entered on in this leg. And when we took out buy side, we had this huge rejection make above those two equal highs. Right here. Break of structure. Oh no, we can actually label this as buy side. Buy side cleared. We reversed, but from here, not really a nice entry point. Of course, we have an inverted fair value gap here. We can go with this candle, but could have maybe looked at this fair value gap as an inverted one, but so yet we did not close also below our 15-minute fair value gap, which lines up with the new week opening gap. Yeah, it's really not something you want to trade. It's now 10:10. We're going to take out the sell side liquidity, and we could see a run for the low of the day. A typical pump, a last blow off, because very likely lots of traders already got into the short. Quick blow off with the news. Most of them had their stops right at this level, and I can also believe that plenty of breakout traders had buy stops above this level. So enough room for market makers to fill their short orders for a quick move to the downside. So we took those equal lows. We could actually label this as sell side. And now we would like to see the new week opening gap, or this 15-minute bullish fair value gap that is now being inverted to hold resistance. And we do not want to see a close above it. Yeah, but I think most of us made profit today. So well done, everyone. Yeah, this is recorded. I'm going to upload it to YouTube right away after I end the stream. Yeah, I think we all three of us that are active in the chat, Matt, Agent Smith, and me, I think we all ended up with some profits today. For me, it was 250 bucks. Not bad. 5 handles with one single ES contract. You can't really complain about that for sitting here in front of my computer for, of course, I streamed for a little bit longer. If I wouldn't have streamed today, I would have pretty much left my computer already after I have hit that target at 9:30. So that would roughly be 1 hour worth of my time for 250 bucks. So yeah, that's not bad. We did not catch another reversal. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the has enjoyed the stream. Other than that, unless there are a few more questions, I'm going to end the stream here.